Hi, I'm flying to Tromso in Norway. The captain just has informed us that the temperature is 8 degrees Celsius, and unfortunately, the weather forecast for the next few days doesn't look good. As you can see, the symbol of the sun is not used for any of the day. And sorry for Norwegians to say this, but this is how a mid August day can look in Norway. So if you are like me, not from Norway, be prepared. My plan is to hike in the Lyngen Alps. The Lyngen Alps are about one driving hour east of Tromsø, and it is quite a big peninsula with steep and jagged terrain, which runs roughly in a north-south direction with alpine mountains, most of them not very easy to climb, according to the UIAA difficulty level 3, 4. The summits are not very high. The highest peak is about 1,900 meters, just a little bit short of that. But nevertheless, in these northern latitudes, many of the mountains have glaciers. But there is a hiking track which is called Lyngen Trek. Most of the part is without any roads. You are on your own if you enter this area. So the Lyngen Trek, which has first been defined in 1973 by the Swedish climbers Billing and Hedlund, runs about 150 kilometers, and you can either do it north-south or south-north. You will need 12 to 15 days to do the whole hike. And I'm actually just intending to do part of it. My goal is to start in Nordkjosbotn in the south and go up to Lyngseidet, which is about halfway in the middle, in 6 or maybe 7 days. So if you enter this area, you should be really prepared to cover yourself. There will be no cell phone coverage in most parts. As I said, there are no roads. Most probably you will not meet anybody in this area. You should be prepared to cross wild creeks coming down from glaciers and cross swamps, sometimes quite steep snowfields. So bring your crampons, good shoes. Something that I could recommend you when arriving by air is to go into the shopping center on the east side of the runway, where you could buy camping gas if you have a stove. So you can go there to buy a gas cartridge, which you can of course not take into the aircraft. So all regular buses going to Tromsø city center will stop there, except the express bus. It's very easy to get there. This is my equipment. I've tried to optimize everything for weight. My backpack is a lightweight Osprey Talon. I use a lightweight wrap sleeping bag and a very light tent, which is made, I guess, by a New Zealand company called Lightwave. I then have lightweight crampons. Don't take any toilet paper. It's completely useless. It gets wet in a few hours. Thermarest mat to protect my thermarest, just in case. I bought some very lightweight boots just to cross the creeks and rivers. A small tripod, my trusty AOS M50, and an external microphone, power bank, very important. The Garmin InReach Mini, which is just for safety. It's a messaging system which works over the Iridium satellite, and I can get in touch hopefully from every point on the world. I also have a small and DJI Osmo Pocket. This is my lamp, and I have a solar panel, Sunnyvalk. Then this is my clothing. I have reduced everything to minimum. I just have 2 sets and some warm shirts and a mid layer. And the rest of it is food. Actually, it makes most of the weight of my backpack. It's mostly of dry food, my jet boil. I use the minimo version of jet boil, and some snacks, some nuts, and yeah, this is it. After a very short night of rest in the hotel, I went to the bus and look how nice the weather looks. One thing that I have learned here is not to believe the weather forecasts you get on your phone. I took the bus number 100 Tromso to Narvik, and it departed about 6:15, and it takes about 1 hour to reach Nordkjosbotn. Unfortunately, I didn't take any video clips during the trip, so enjoy some of the photographs. I'm off the bus in Nordkjosbotn. Unfortunately, my backpack is very heavy. I have now to turn to the right and walk along the highway which goes to the east to Alta for a few kilometers before turning on the path and hiking up the mountain ridge. One more thing I would recommend is to get the Norgescart app. This contains very detailed hiking maps of whole Norway. I have some apps which are based on OpenStreetMaps and they simply don't cut it, and because they don't contain most of the trails. And this one has good topographic cards. However, if you want to use it offline, it is a subscription-based app, but it's not expensive, so it only costs $2 a month or so, and you can easily cancel your subscription after you finish your hiking. To reach where I'm going to climb up, there is a very big waterfall, and actually behind the ridge there is a lake. And the river from the waterfall is like crazy. So I'm going to hike on the right side of the river, even though on the left side it seems the way up is much better, but I don't want to cross this river, and there is no bridge up and on the upside, and so this is more safe way to get on the way. According to my map, this should be the place where the hiking starts. This is where the trail continues, I think. At least it matches my map. I'm sure the mic does not catch it, but I hear the low frequency rumbling noise of the falling water. So, I'm up the ridge, and last look to Nordkjosbotn.
Thanks God I made it to the lake of Viranjari, if I pronounce it halfway correct. It's the first of many lakes we are going to pass by. Bad thing here is that everything is so wet. The path is basically soaked in water, so every time you put your shoes on the ground, there's at least 2 or 3 centimeters of water, an inch of water, sometimes much more. So be sure if you come here to bring very good shoes with you. They should be waterproof, and that's not even enough. Actually, I would highly recommend you to bring a pair of durable, long and good quality gaiters. Look at that. How nice is this? Lake Viranjari. Somebody has a nice weekend house there. And we are going to follow this valley up here. Between these mountains there will be another lake, our next lake, just behind that ridge, small pass there, and let's see how it looks.
By the way, this, according to the map, is the trail. It's such a thin trail, maybe sometimes less than 20 centimeters wide, and good luck finding it again after you lose it once.
My shoes are already completely soaked. It's so wet.
Look how much power this river has. It's such a gorgeous nature. That's why I love coming to Norway. At times my progress is quite slow because of the difficulties of the terrain. When you put your feet on the ground, it's often not even, and this slows you down. So I think my average speed is sometimes as low as 1 kilometer, maybe even less. Then when there are parts of this one here where I can less distance, but you never know, it changes very fast and very dramatically.
So my way continues to the right side into the next valley, or that's shallow pass. So the path has improved a little bit in the last hour. It's not so difficult to walk anymore, and it's not so wet, but my shoes are still, the outside of my shoes are still quite wet. Thankfully inside everything is dry until now.
But look at this gorgeous nature. so I love coming to Norway, and it's worth all the difficulties you face to experience this great nature. I've seen the Lyngen Alps when I was young. From the Storfjord, and I looked at those mountains and said, I should come here someday. Well, I would not have guessed at that time that I would do this 30 years later. This is Lake Gurgela. It's a very nice, pristine place. I think in front of us there at the white dot, there seems to be a tent or something like that. I didn't see anyone until now. I've seen a moose and a few reindeer, but I was too slow to act with my camera. So my plan is to continue here on the north side of the lake and try to walk up here this hill. There is no path, but behind this height, actually, there's another lake. I have to pass by that lake, and the normal path, it goes down here. I think it goes down 100 meters or so, and then there's a path in the map which goes up, and I want to not to lose too much altitude and try to get directly up from here. But we'll see if it's a good idea or it is not so good. I have passed the Lake Gurgela on the right side, viewed from here. I'm looking now backwards from where I came, and I'm hiking through this area, and we'll climb up about this point because a little bit right to it there's a very steep area which I want to avoid. Look at this unspoiled nature. Today, in most parts of the world, wherever you look, you will see some human-made artifacts, and it's really rare that you can look around and cannot see anything done by humans. So you have the nature as it was created originally. Do you see that giant waterfall? Just left of it is behind the pass. There's a big lake, and I'm going to go straight forward and climb up onto the ridge here. I'm closing in to the third lake of the day. I think it's called Rippen, and look at the color of this lake, and I'm so happy to come here, even though it's not easy at times. But it's such a great place to be. Norway really has some of the most beautiful unspoiled nature.
Now I guess I have to put on my boots because I hate cold water. Look at that. And below here is a big waterfall. Oh, that was great. Believe it or not, I didn't feel any cold at all. It was a great idea to bring these rubber boots with me.
I decided to set up my tent here now because I don't want to climb up now this mountain and sleep somewhere upside, where there is no water, and probably it's much colder there. So this, I think it's a very nice place to stay for the night.